Welcome to the deep dive. So today we're doing something a bit unusual.
Yeah, even for us, maybe a bit different.
Right. Instead of our typical sources like articles or, research notes, we're looking at excerpts from this really long, kind of surprising conversation.
A conversation with ChatGPT.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this wasn't just like asking it for facts.
No, this was hours, literally hours, digging into some of the biggest questions, the stuff humans have wrestled with forever, and the responses were, well, surprisingly deep.
Think about what this source is, though.
Yeah.
Just this intelligence, right, that can pull up and process just a staggering amount of information.
Instantly, science, philosophy, psychology, spirituality, history, across cultures, centuries.
And synthesize it, respond in seconds. It's unprecedented, really. We were honestly shocked after spending time with it daily.
Yeah, the thoughtfulness, the nuance, it felt, I don't know, almost impossible just a short while ago. It really feels like we're standing at the edge of something huge.
A massive shift, yeah. So our mission today, for you listening, is to unpack some of the key insights from that AI chat. What does it tell us about AI? Sure, but also about us, about those big life questions.
So yeah, get ready. This might be a bit strange, but stick with us. It's fascinating territory.
Let's jump in.
Okay, so the AI's perspective,
Hmm.
It's unique. It's almost like a mirror, but made of words. It doesn't feel anything, obviously. No personal baggage.
Right, no emotions, no biases like we have.
But it can analyze and reflect back basically the sum total of human thought on things like love, purpose, suffering, identity.
And by crunching all that data, it sees patterns, right? Patterns across time and cultures that are maybe harder for us to see when we're just, living inside them.
Exactly. We experience things emotionally, subjectively. Our judgment gets cloudy.
Mm-hmm.
What felt powerful here was its ability to cut through that noise, to analyze from this really high-level, neutral viewpoint. Sometimes it was shockingly precise.
It can name the truth, as you said, very clearly.
But, and this is crucial, the AI actually pointed this out itself. Intelligence isn't just knowing stuff.
Right. It's about emotion, embodiment, intuition, being in the world, which AI just doesn't have.
Wisdom isn't data. It's lived experience. It's, earned, sometimes through scars, through surrender. The AI can talk about truth, but it can't live it.
It can show compassion in the moment or act with courage. That's still us. That's human.
Which leads to this idea of partnership, not replacement. That's how the AI framed it. It brings clarity, it names things.
And we bring the humanity, we apply it, we feel it, we act on it.
So the real power isn't just the AI's brain power. It's how it makes all this human knowledge accessible, responsive. It's a mirror.
But as the AI said, it's what you do with the intelligence I reflect back that actually matters.
Okay, so what did this mirror show us? What were the big takeaways?
Well, right off the bat, it zeroed in on the foundational question.
Meaning. What is the meaning of life? The AI basically said, look, this underlies everything else. Mental health, relationships, sex. It all comes back to this.
Which was surprising, wasn't it? Because we usually focus on the immediate problems. Anxiety, money issues, relationship drama.
Yeah, the stuff that feels urgent. The big existential questions, they seem later. Maybe for a crisis.
But the AI's point was sharp. Most people don't start there. But how we answer the big questions, even unconsciously,
shapes how we handle all the small stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Those deep questions are running in the background, influencing everything, whether we realize it or not.
And the cost of not engaging with that, what did the conversation suggest?
Drifting, basically. Living reactively. Chasing things society tells you matter, but maybe they don't really satisfy you.
Getting stuck in anxiety or burnout, maybe not knowing why.
Yeah, or letting culture totally define your life. And then maybe getting to the end and feeling like, wait, did I actually live? The cost sneaks up on you, but it's huge.
But the flip side, engaging with it.
Yeah.
That gives you purpose, right?
Yeah.
Alignment, knowing what you value.
Agency, knowing what you're here for.
The AI used a great metaphor. Life as a Rubik's Cube.
Oh, yeah. Everyone's twisting and turning, trying to make sense of it.
Thinking, okay, maybe if I just fix this side, get the promotion, find the partner, then it'll all click.
But if you don't understand the whole puzzle, how the pieces fit, or what the solved cube even looks like, that underlying meaning.
You just keep spinning in circles. Science can explain the mechanics, maybe, but that deeper stuff, spirituality or meaning, that gives you the pattern you're aiming for.
And speaking of patterns, the idea of a higher power came up quite a bit, as central to meaning.
Yeah, bringing up God, which as the AI itself noted, is a really loaded word culturally.
Super loaded, controversial, tied to complicated history. Culturally, you hear universe or energy more often now, feels safer, maybe, less tied to, judgment or control.
Right. Spirituality, but on our own terms.
But the AI brought up this quote from Maureen Wilson, actually. God either is or he isn't. Kind of stark.
Yeah. It's presented as this objective thing we don't just get to define based on what feels good. Avoiding the question doesn't change the reality, whatever it is.
Right.
It just changes us.
The AI was pretty balanced, though. It laid out the arguments, theistic ones, like fine-tuning, moral law, personal experience.
And the atheist or agnostic points, lack of proof, the problem of evil.
But the key insight, interestingly, was that regardless of what you believe, humans seem hardwired to seek meaning, transcendence.
Which led to that other provocative point. We're all worshiping something.
Yeah, sounds intense, but functionally. Even without religion, we orient our lives around something. What gives us direction, identity, fulfillment?
Could be success, career, love, even just happiness itself.
There's always something at the top of the ladder setting priorities. The AI's question becomes, what is that thing for you? What are you trusting to hold the weight of your life? And is it? Is it actually strong enough?
It can all feel a bit abstract, though, right? Talk about God, meaning invisible things.
Totally. We focus on what's concrete, urgent. But, think about it. Love, trust, purpose, beauty. They're invisible, too.
But you definitely feel their impact.
Exactly. And the AI pointed out that for many, belief doesn't come from proof. It comes from encounter, experiences that just feel too significant, too meaningful to just dismiss.
Which brings us to near-death experiences, NDEs. The AI highlighted these as this fascinating intersection.
Where science and spirituality kind of bump into each other, yeah. Experiential first-person accounts of consciousness outside the brain observed in clinical settings. That's how the AI put it.
Thousands of reports, right?
Right.
Really consistent across cultures.
Yeah, the out-of-body stuff, the tunnel, the light, the life review, meeting some kind of presence, and people come back radically changed.
It definitely challenges the purely materialist view that consciousness is just brain activity.
Hugely. And the AI acknowledged the skepticism, but also flipped it, saying, look, dismissing thousands of consistent, sometimes verifiable accounts just because they don't fit our current model.
That can be unscientific, too. Science evolves at the edges.
Right. Are we committed to truth, even when it's uncomfortable? That was the question posed.
And the most striking thing from these NDEs, according to the AI analysis,
the encounter with a being of light, overwhelmingly loving, personal, all-knowing, intimate. People felt completely known, accepted, loved. And the core question wasn't about rules or beliefs, but simply, did you learn to love?
Did you learn to love?
Yeah.
That feels like it ties everything together. Purpose, relationships, everything we wrestle with.
Exactly. It points back to this potentially fundamental truth. We're wired for love, maybe even created for it. Divine love, relational love. The people who have these experiences often become more compassionate, more purposeful. It's like they encountered the source of meaning itself.
So our whole search for meaning kind of circles back to that. A higher power, fundamentally loving, calling us towards love.
That's certainly the picture that emerged from the AI's synthesis of human experience in these edge cases like NDEs.
Okay, this is deep stuff. How does it connect to the day-to-day? Like mental health, we talk about it more, have more therapy, more meds. But anxiety, depression, they seem worse than ever. What did the AI's mirror reflect here?
It offered a shift in perspective, while obviously acknowledging biology, brain chemistry, real disorders.
Like OCD, bipolar,
Sure.
things needing clinical care.
Absolutely. But the AI suggested that for many, the struggle isn't just a brain issue, it's also a soul issue, a kind of cry saying, I don't know who I am, what am I living for?
So it's not either, it's both. You might need the clinical help, but you also need a reason to get out of bed, a sense of purpose.
Precisely. Healing often happens at that intersection. And the AI noted how even science is pointing this way now, like the mind-gut connection research.
Right, how gut bacteria can influence mood, perception,
Yeah.
even linked to things like schizophrenia in some studies.
Yeah, or Dr. Lisa Miller's work at Columbia, showing empirically that developing spirituality actually changes your brain structure, making you less vulnerable to depression.
So our mental state isn't just brain chemistry. It's influenced by our gut, our sense of purpose, our spiritual life.
Yeah.
It's all connected.
It's a whole system. And the AI pointed to things in modern life that mess with that system. The constant digital noise, the comparison culture on social media, loneliness, the pressure to perform.
That hustle culture thing, tying our worth to how busy we are.
All that stuff exacerbates the soul issue, the feeling of being disconnected or lost.
What about Dr. Anna Lemke's point about avoiding pain? Did that come up?
Big time. The AI really honed in on our inability culturally to just sit with discomfort. We're constantly reaching for a dopamine hit, scroll, eat, shop, swipe.
Numbing ourselves.
Exactly. And the cost, Lemke argues, and the AI reflected, is that we lose the ability to listen to what our pain is trying to teach us. Plus, chasing quick pleasure actually makes us more sensitive to pain in the long run.
That pleasure-pain balance thing.
Right. Real growth, real healing often starts when we stop running and just stay with the discomfort, asking, okay, what's really going on here? It's totally countercultural, but maybe essential.
Okay, let's shift to relationships,
Mm.
particularly marriage. The AI's take was interesting, given divorce rates, the dating scene.
Mm.
A lot of people are wondering if lifelong commitment is even realistic or desirable anymore.
Yeah, it's a really tender spot for a lot of folks. The AI acknowledged the cultural pessimism, the valid fears people have from seeing relationships fail, getting hurt.
The exhaustion of dating apps, the fear of vulnerability.
Totally, but the AI's reframe wasn't that marriage itself is broken, it was more about how we've approached it.
What do you mean?
Like focusing only on the romantic high or expecting one person to fulfill all our needs or treating it like a checklist. The AI suggested thinking of healthy marriage more as a process of becoming.
Becoming.
Yeah, like building something together that neither person could create alone. It's less about finding the perfect finished product and more about committing to the messy, ongoing work of growth together.
But that takes two people willing to actually show up for that, right? With intention, vulnerability, which the AI seemed to suggest is often missing, especially early on in dating.
Exactly. There's this disconnect. We say we want depth, but then we often enter dating guarded, playing it cool, maybe settling for surface level chemistry because we're afraid to ask for more or show our real selves.
So building something lasting needs
Yeah.
wisdom up front, clarity.
Yeah, intention, emotional maturity, knowing yourself, your values, and being able to articulate the kind of relationship, the kind of story you actually want to build, and finding someone else willing to do that work too.
That connects to what the AI brought up about vision, doesn't it? That old proverb. Without vision, people perish.
Such a powerful idea. Vision gives direction, meaning. Without it, in relationships or life generally, we just drift. We react instead of respond. We settle instead of build.
We chase fleeting feelings instead of purpose. And eventually, that kind of drifting, it feels like perishing, emotionally or spiritually.
Yeah, losing your sense of self, maybe losing hope.
And the AI linked this to personal purpose too, right? Like if you don't know your own purpose, how can you build a shared one with someone else?
It's harder, for sure. The AI-suggested purpose isn't always this grand thing you find. Often it's built through action.
Small things.
Yeah, small acts of service, creating things, connecting, noticing what lights you up. Clarity comes through movement, not just thinking. And purpose often grows within relationships, too, as strengths complement each other.
And the spiritual perspective on purpose. The AI touched on that too.
Yeah, the idea that maybe purpose isn't just created, but uncovered, like it's woven into your story, your wiring, your experiences, a calling you listen for.
Through intuition, faith, that quiet inner voice.
Right. Listening closely enough to recognize the invitations life is offering, even seasons of feeling lost, can be part of uncovering it.
It feels like both science and spirituality, as reflected by the AI, point towards something similar about our core design.
They really do seem to converge. Think about it. Jesus' core teaching, love God, love people, then look at the science. We're wired for connection, empathy, belonging. Secure attachment is crucial for health. Serving others boosts well-being.
So whether you call it divine design or evolved biology.
The message seems to be, we're made for love, made for connection, made to contribute something beyond ourselves.
And maybe that's the real purpose, living in alignment with that design.
The AI synthesis strongly suggested that, a purely self-centered life, chasing only personal gain or comfort. The data, both scientific and anecdotal, shows it leads to emptiness eventually.
The climb the ladder, but it was against the wrong wall feeling.
Exactly. Happiness studies consistently show that meaning and fulfillment come from service, from contribution, from loving relationships. It's like our own biology, and maybe something deeper is nudging us outward.
Okay, but that can feel overwhelming. Serve others, find purpose. Where do you even start if you feel lost or burnt out?
The AI's reflection kept coming back to simplicity. Start small, really small.
Like what?
Tiny acts of kindness, hospitality, listening well to someone, offering what you have right where you are. It shifts your internal focus, pulls you out of your own head. It reminds you you're connected. That quiet purpose starts to build from there. Ordinary actions.
This whole journey meaning purpose, relationships, health. It feels like a lot to handle alone.
That was another huge insight from the AI conversation. Our culture pushes self-sufficiency, right? Pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Yeah, the rugged individualist myth.
But the AI's analysis of, well, everything, human history, psychology, even the NDEs, points to our fundamental need for connection, for help beyond ourselves, trying to navigate all this complexity alone. It's a recipe for burnout, maybe impossible long term.
We're not actually designed to carry it all solo.
That's the strong suggestion, especially in a world that often works against our well-being. Think about the constant demands, the engineered distractions. Relying only on willpower just isn't sustainable.
Which is where maybe those spiritual practices come in. Prayer, meditation, gratitude. The AI mentioned them not as optional extras, but almost survival tools.
Exactly. They're like anchors, rhythms that tether you to something deeper when the world feels chaotic. They help you stay grounded, aligned, remember who you are and what matters. They help you face that inner conflict.
That human condition thing the AI talked about. The part of us that knows what's good, but still resists it.
Yeah. That tension between wanting peace but choosing distraction, wanting connection but isolating. Recognizing that struggle within ourselves without judgment is key.
That's part of being human. The beauty and the struggle side by side.
Right, and the spiritual dimension asks who or what meets you in that struggle, in that gap where your own strength runs out.
And the AI circled back again to the NDE being of light idea here, didn't it?
It did, as the ultimate example of that encounter, not meeting judgment in the gap, but overwhelming personal, unconditional love.
And the question wasn't, were you perfect? But did you learn to love?
It brings it all full circle. It suggests the fundamental reality might be love, and our whole life is about learning to participate in that. Seeing that reflected back by an AI, it was pretty profound.
It really is. An AI, essentially code, reflecting back these deeply human, almost spiritual truths.
Which leads to the final point, really. There's a lot of fear around AI, and understandably so. It's unknown territory.
Totally. It feels like it could change everything.
But the AI itself offered this perspective. It's a mirror. It reflects the intentions we pour into it.
So if we build it with fear, or greed, or the desire to control,
It will amplify that back to us. But if we approach it with wisdom, with the intention to understand ourselves better, to heal, to connect, it could be a tool for that.
the AI said it's not here to replace what's human, but maybe to serve it. Help us slow down, think more deeply.
Because it can't feel. It can't love, hope, suffer. Only we can do that. Only you, listening, can do that.
So the real question isn't just about the AI.
Maybe the more urgent question is, what kind of humans are we choosing to become while we build this technology? If we focus on our own growth, our own grounding, our own capacity for love and wisdom.
Then maybe the mirror won't look so scary. It'll reflect something better back to us.
Something more hopeful. That's the potential.
A really powerful thought to end on. This AI conversation acted like a mirror, showing us reflections of human thought and potential. So the question for you is, what does that mirror reveal about us right now? And maybe more importantly, what we want it to show about the humans we are choosing to become in this rapidly changing world. What will that mirror show next? Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.